Luxembourg.
This is your friendly station, great 208, the ring-a-ding swinging station of the stars.
In the days before rock and roll,
in the days before rock and roll, in the days.
Dance the cha-cha merrily, sugar push come dance with me.
and I'm searching for Luxembourg.
Now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more down. Up on my way, all love came just in time.
I am down on my knees at the wireless knobs.
Kiss by kiss we'll go up to paradise. Darling, don't you know, heaven only lies in the reach of those who dare to climb up the stairway of love.
And I'm searching for Luxembourg.
Why don't you make a date with 208, your friendly station, entertain the nation. Hear your favorite disc jockey spin the hit.
Radio Luxembourg is to stop broadcasting to Britain on medium wave after 58 years. It was the first pop station to be heard here, but recently it's been hit by falling advertising revenue and lower audience figures.
We are the Ovaltine, little girls and boys.
In the 1930s, advertisers like Ovaltine discovered on Radio Luxembourg the power of commercial broadcasting. With an audience double that of the staid BBC, Luxembourg brought light and warmth into drab pre-war Britain.
Ovaltine, we're happy girls and boys.
After the war, Luxembourg attracted audiences of up to 9 million with its sponsored entertainment shows.
It's Woodbine quiz time. And here's the compere of our show, David Jacobs.
I've introduced a most disgraceful program, which I think was called Lucky Couple. We married them round the corner in the registry office and rushed them to the studio, put them on the stage with lots of people, guests of their own invitation, sitting in the audience, and we totally embarrassed them by asking them all sorts of ridiculous questions about themselves. And it was probably in the time when couples hadn't actually been to bed together before they got married. So it was a bit cheeky. And it was presented by Fife's Bananas. And the great thing was that every time I said 1, 2, 3, 4, the audience had to shout out Fife's Bananas. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, Fife's Bananas, and we threw bananas at the audience. Now that was a classical show.
Today, fewer than 400,000 people a week make a date with Luxembourg. In future, it'll only be available to people with satellite television.
Our last report tonight comes from, I will endeavour to find it, it comes from this proud and independent little country. Its position between Germany and France and the Low Countries puts it at a sort of European crossroads.
When I was a kid at school, I did not have any idea that Luxembourg was a little country. It wasn't until much, much later. Much later. I mean, I think I'd probably already started making records when I suddenly realized that Luxembourg is not just a radio station. It's not just like tuning into the local station. It's a place. I didn't realize it was a place as such. I just thought it was a couple of rooms with DJs in it.
This
is Radio Luxembourg, your station of the stars, broadcasting on 208 meters medium wave. It's time for Top 20. Hi, everybody. This is your DJBA Barry Aldous at the microphone. It's great to be with you again. Yes, here we go with all that's best in the world of wax. Pops aplenty in Top 20. And number one on the list, well, they've made it, those sensational Supremes with Baby Love.
Record fans, wherever you are. Once again, it's time for another roundup of all your favorite British and American recording artists, brought to you by the Decca Record Company for your special delight tonight. Oh, excuse me, madam.
Yes?
I work for Luxembourg, you see.
Oh, I am sorry. I'm afraid I can't help you.
No. I was hoping you'd play chaperone to this young fella.
Hey now, this is Britain's longest-serving, solid-sounding, super-duper smile station. The station that spots a successful sound soonest. And this is your royal ruler. I wouldn't fool you. Nothing could be cooler. This is Tony Prince. Hi, kids.
The station closing, it is a very historic occasion, because you know something very special is over. It's meant so much to me personally. But it started long before I worked for it. I mean, it was what we used to listen to at night when you were a kid. The family would gather around the mains receiver and Dad would try and get rid of that. Damn, we are the Oval Genius. And we'd put up with all that noisy static because there was nowhere else to go for your musical entertainment in those days. So I remember very distinctly a big coal fire in, a Northern England home, and Sunday night listening to the chart show, the Top 20, and, Jimmy Savile and 20 Disc Club, Sam Costa, people, DCCA, Decca, and those awful programs where they only played a minute of each record. I mean, little did we know that was a commercial reason, rather than jamming as many pieces of music into an hour as possible. It was because the record company paid for the hour and they wanted to plug all the records they could, We didn't realize that in those days. In fact, I think Luxembourg was taking legal payola long before there was any scandal or even the word payola meant anything. They were actually taking money for playing records. And there was nothing wrong with it in those days, or it didn't seem so.
Get out in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Get out in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Well, roll my breakfast, 'cause I'm a hungry man. I said, shake, rattle and roll. 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 Well, you never do nothing to say.
When I first heard this fantastic radio program, Radio Luxembourg, it was absolutely unbelievable being a kid, because we was only used to the very stuffy, stagey BBC with its Mantovani, and the nearest you ever got to rock and roll was Billy Cotton and his band show. It was absolutely the music for the teenagers, and the kids would say Fabulous Radio Luxembourg. That's sort of abbreviated to Fab. But the beat boom wouldn't have happened without the help of Luxembourg. And when I first got into rock and roll and being a singer, when I heard that, it's because of Luxembourg I became a singer. So Luxembourg's to blame, or those terrible records I've made.
Ready, Dave? Wakey, wake!
This is LBC.
And a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Pete Murray Show in this first hour. It's Petline.
You know my dog, Peppy, so
Yes.
do you think I ought to get a coat for him?
I think if he looks as though he's shivering or showing signs of the cold, it's something to consider
Yes.
as they get older. It's the same with our geriatrics.
Yes, I know. Well, don't look at me like that.
Jessica, thank you for your call, and I sincerely hope something... The magic of Luxembourg was that it was illegal, and people thought they were being very naughty. A number of people I've heard, I mean, Tony Blackburn used to listen to me at school. Horrific thought. I even supposedly inspired him into his broadcasting career, which again is a pretty horrific thought. Yes, he used to listen to me at school under the bedclothes. That's another horrific thought.
My real love of Heard Luxembourg began when my father, who was working part of the time in the Far East, came back from Japan in 1961. It was the week that Surrender was top of the charts, I remember. And he brought back 2 little transistor radios for my brother and me. And these were perfect for listening to under the bedclothes, because radios, of course, were banned, and everybody else, including us, had been smuggling in these enormous radios into the dorm, which were always being nabbed. But these little radios were terrific, and you had a little earphone. And it picked up Luxembourg extraordinarily well. And it was just terrific hearing all these pop records that you didn't really hear on the BBC. And if you were at boarding school, it was even harder to hear them, because when the BBC did play them, you were usually in chapel or playing football or something. So Luxembourg was an absolute lifeline, educated me in the wonderful world of pop.
So I had a deal that I struck with prefects in boarding schools that for the period of the Teen and 20 Disc Club, there was an amnesty where you could listen to the programme providing you had your tranny under the bedclothes and didn't disturb anybody else. So I then formed what I call the Under the Bedclothes Club. And my mother, God rest her soul, the Duchess, was mortified one time when an exceptionally dolly young lady rushed up to her and said, "Oh, Mrs. Saville, I'm in bed with Jimmy every Wednesday night, you know." And the Duchess went, "What's..."
So there he was, lead singer of Man for Man, the original lead singer, Paul Jones. I've been a bad, bad boy. It's just come around 5 to midnight, my last 5 minutes on 208.
I'm looking forward very much to seeing Stuart Henry, one of my heroes, with his wife, Ollie, who's very much a heroine. He's not getting out very much anymore. Of course, as I'm sure everybody is aware, Stuart's got multiple sclerosis, and you know, a very bad situation in terms of immobility. So I hope we'll somehow get him into the radio station. That would be a very big highlight for me if that happened. He lost his job at Radio 1, so we gave him a job here at Luxembourg. Very happy to have him because he was like a household name.
We have some old names like Chris Denning on the air. Mid-60s, Chris, yeah? With Luxembourg? Right, okay, who do we have? Tony Prince.
Less of the old names.
All right, well, middle-aged names, shall we say, in his case.
Give us as quickly as we can, everybody, please, because we've got something going on here that I really wouldn't like to get interrupted, so as quickly as you can. Hello there, is this Andy Raymond? Jeff Raymond, regular.
Hi, mate. Good to see you.
Hello,
Tony, how are you?
I didn't come to see you today.
So, we're marking the end of 208, 1440, but we're looking ahead to the future on the Astra satellite. In stereo.
Already millions have made the switch to our 24-hour digital stereo broadcasts.
When people began calling me long, long ago now, the first disc jockey on Luxembourg, I didn't know what they were talking about to begin with. And then when I heard a disc jockey or two, I realized that what they did usually was to link 2 sides of a gramophone record or 2 different records with a whole lot of inconsequential chat, which might be quite amusing, but didn't mean anything.
It's a national program from London. We begin this evening with a concert.
Well, I don't think Radio Luxembourg would have got anywhere had it not been for the BBC's policy. Really, BBC scored a marvellous own goal by allowing Radio Luxembourg into the British broadcasting field. And it did that because of its Sunday programme policy, which had been Reith's policy right from the beginning.
Heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his hand.
In 1927, Lord Reith became the Director General of the new British Broadcasting Corporation. He was, of course, the son of a very austere Presbyterian minister, and this was reflected in the programme policy of the BBC. That is a policy of treating Sunday as a different day from all the others. And that on that day, one should devote oneself primarily to religious feelings and not to frivolous entertainment considered by some people as sinful, you know, and couldn't be allowed. So, what did they do? They tuned to Luxembourg. Well, wouldn't you? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
All day I simply say tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
I was the first Briton ever to announce, this is Radio Luxembourg.
Sunday the 3rd of December, 1933. Quite a while ago.
You were the son of a clergyman.
I was indeed.
Did you not feel any guilt about this?
No. I felt no guilt at all. And nor did my father. He didn't mind. He thought it was rather funny too.
When I was very young, I listened to it early Sunday morning. But that was because my family liked to hear it, and it was on all the time. And one thing they didn't want to do was go over to the BBC for what they used to say, all those church service and piss-pop music. They meant chamber music.
The makers of Vile Beans present Rhyme with Reason.
Hello, everyone. With the playing of the song Ethereal, the voice of Philco, the world's largest makers of radio receivers, greets you once again. Across the ether, we send greetings, good wishes, and a little music to cheer you on your way.
Of course, one of the main problems with Luxembourg was the fading. Because no commercial station was allowed to be set up anywhere near England, it had to be in the Duchy of Luxembourg. A hell of a distance.
Germany calling, Germany calling, Germany calling. Here are the Reichsender ambush, Station Bremen and Station...
The British Ministry of Misinformation has been conducting a systematic campaign of frightening British women and girls about the danger of being injured by splinters from German bombs.
Lord Hall, William Joyce, he was a local man, lived over in Dulwich Village. He sympathised with Germans and he wanted to get into broadcasting. He probably couldn't do it over here, so he tried with Germans and they were very pleased to accept him as a broadcaster. And he broadcast from the old Luxembourg transmitter, which the Germans had took over when they overrun the Duchy of Luxembourg. He wasn't worried about the rest of Europe because Germany had very carefully destroyed all the wireless sets belonging to the countries it had overrun. It was their principle to kill all their radio sets. If you're caught listening to radio, you could be shot.
Indeed, Mr. Churchill, with quite unusual frankness, admitted that the military results of the Belgian capitulation would be very grave. When this spiteful old creature, blind with prejudice...
Eventually, we captured William Joyce. We brought back to this country and finally hung at Wandsworth, not more than 5 miles from where he spent most of his life. And there were a few shots at trying to get him off, reprieve and appeals, but he was very, very guilty. He was a traitor, if ever there was one.
Es lebe Deutschland, and farewell.
Somebody met me in Selfridges one day and said, "Good God, I thought you were dead."
I'd like to introduce myself to you. I'm Stephen Williams' wife.
Are you really? Now then, how about
younger
that?
than he is.
There you go.
Of course, we had Opportunity Knox was there for nearly 7 years.
Yes.
And out of it on Luxembourg came the late David Whitfield, who was a great star all over the world. There was the Bachelors.
Yep.
He's getting all the records out and ready to go ahead for a whole hour.
We had actually a very good record library.
Then a wonderful moment when all those records came from Capitol in the States. All the new ones, all the new releases. Yeah.
If you're listening to music that avidly, which I was, as everybody in my generation were, listening to the birth pangs of rock and roll. Luxembourg had to have an influence. Of course it was an influence in my life. It introduced me to Elvis, for a start. I know that if there hadn't been an Elvis, there couldn't be a Cliff Richard. I mean, even now, I remember reading about Elvis and reading about the American stars, and then suddenly, almost it seemed like overnight, between the middle of '58 and the end of '58, there was such a drastic change in my life, because one minute I was reading about the stars, the next minute I was in the headlines. Elvis and Cliff battled it out in top of charts. I thought, Elvis and Cliff. I couldn't believe that my name would ever be linked with someone like Elvis's. I mean, it was just the most amazing feeling. And the same way, having listened to Luxembourg, you know, to suddenly find myself with my own program on Luxembourg and find myself being request of the week or whatever it was, I mean, it was a fantastic sensation, really wonderful. So they do all come together. As far as I'm concerned, Luxembourg rock and roll, my career, certainly all fit in those early days.
I was the first girl disc jockey, and it absolutely went to my head. I adored it.
You were always terribly ladylike.
Well, until the Beatles, we actually, well, I wore cocktail frocks, beautiful silk things with tight waists, like Alma Cogan's frocks, you know. But I had to do all my programs in England, so these programs were recorded and flown out.
People thought you were in Luxembourg, didn't they?
I think they did. It was a big bluff, really.
Sometimes I do much more work than Paul, but we won't mention that, will we?
And on other occasions, I write 5 songs in a row.
We did not know at EMI whether the Beatles were good, bad, or indifferent. It was such an extraordinary sound. It was quite unlike anything we'd ever heard. And they all arrived to be interviewed in the show with the audience. They all had terrible bad colds, and they couldn't do this out a single M or N. They were in a terrible state, and I had to interview John. And he was wobbling like a jelly. And I developed, not through John, but through all the people who were afraid, all the newcomers, the strongest left arm in the business, because I used to grab them in a vice-like grip with my left arm and stick the microphone under their noses. Otherwise, they would back away, and we'd be up at the back of the stage with the scenery falling down. But John did go out to have a drink with Johnny Gustafson later, and Johnny told me that John Lennon had wobbled out, shaking from the heart out, and he said, "I've had the most terrible experience. This bleeding bird had to hold me up." And that was me. Of course, he got so blasé in the end, he was holding me up.
Multitudinous greetings to you, sons and daughters. My name is Noel Edmonds, which probably means nothing to you. It means everything to me, and I hope it means something to 1 or 2 other people.
All my feelings about Luxembourg are total gratitude and warmth for what it did for me. It was my university, and it set me up to learn an enormous amount about broadcasting and communication in a very short period of time.
They pay you well?
Fantastically well. At 19, I was being paid altogether about £3,500, compared with my father as headmaster of a secondary school getting just over £2,000. I am so grateful for all of the experiences, most of which were totally loony. I mean, I remember when there was a guy called Dave Christian who came out there to join the team, and he arrived in a slightly, shall I say, bombastic way, to be polite. I mean, he kind of gave the impression that he knew rather a lot about radio, whereas the rest of us were prepared to admit we knew nothing. And he stood in the corner of the studio while Kid Jensen read the news bulletin. And just before Kid started, I pulled the microphone back and let it go, because it was the one that hung from the ceiling. And Kid read the entire news bulletin going like this. And Christian afterwards said, does that always happen? You know, which seemed a pretty naff question, really, thinking he'd spot the joke. And Jensen, as quick as anything, said, oh, yeah, you know, and if you get it wrong, that's why Luxembourg fades.
London's dance chart at number 6. Here's Quadrophonia. Find the Time, Part 1. Drive time till 7. The Kid at the controls.
All the colors of the rainbow.
Remember those jingles?
Oh, the colorful.
Red is for stop.
That's
at 208 on the dial.
Colorful
Radio Luxembourg. Because we were there during the Station of the Stars era. Do you remember that?
Station of the Stars,
ring-a-ding,
that's right.
swinging Station of the Stars.
Yeah, did you ever, you know, people offering you stuff for playing certain records?
Not really. I mean, I think that Luxembourg as a station used to get offered a great deal.
But you remember that Spanish, big Spanish hit? With, what was it, Los Bravos?
Black is Black?
Yeah.
What happened?
All these Spanish pluggers came.
Yeah.
And they got it wrong slightly. They'd heard about, you know, this particular way of getting records played, and they offered us all paella. But, but it's still, you know, illegal. Don't you think?
Yes, it's 7 minutes past 1 o'clock, and hello, welcome to the Capitago Classic Top 20, when we take you back today 29 years to the 18th of December, 1962, to a chart that has 7 going up, 8 going down, 3 new entries, and 2 that hadn't moved at all.
No one can make my sunshine smile.
On its way down from 12 to 20 went the Everly Brothers, No One Can Make My Sunshine Smile.
She goes out 7 nights a week.
We are off. And running. It's more competitive now because there are more radio stations on the air, you know. But I'm happy to say us old guys are holding our own. Up from 18 to number 5 went The Biggest Climber, on its way to number 1, where it stayed for 3 weeks. Cliff Richard. No doubt he did it in Panto in 1962, The Next Time.
They say I'll love again someday, true.
Principal boy again, Cliff. Yep.
When I'm still so very much in love with you.
Cliff and hit sound number 5, The Next Time. One of his many number ones, and of course he had a number 1 hit with the Eurovision Song Contest. Not a winner, though. It was actually, I met him actually when he sang the song for Great Britain. I was actually working for another radio station, the name of which, of course, I can't obviously mentioned here on Capital Gold, but suffice to say that it was based in Luxembourg. Anyway, he came out and he sang this song, Congratulations, and he came second, as I seem to recall. I went up and I congratulated him on coming second, because if I'd have come second in anything, I would have been really over the moon, but he was really quite put out. So I'm sorry, Cliff, if you're listening today. All these years on, I apologize.
Digital satellite stereo, Radio Luxembourg.
There will be people for decades onwards saying, Luxembourg, is it not going? Is it closed down? And they'll feel a bit as if they've let their subscription to a club fail, and then they're disappointed when they're not allowed in. I mean, for me, Luxembourg was just so precious in my life, but I don't think I could ever argue for it to continue, because clearly time's passed it by.
Hey, hi, how are you doing? Jeff Graham here in the hot seat for the next 3 hours, the final programme on...
It's not supposed to have gone. No, that's the thing, you know, it's...
Oh, I think without any shadow of a doubt, it's gone, hasn't it?
Well, if you've got an Astra dish or cable television, you can get it.
Yes, but if I believe the industry papers, it had got to the stage it would have been easier for the DJs to do house calls to play the records rather than trouble a transmitter. So isn't it better just to accept that it belonged to a different era?
When I wake up in the morning light, very, very cool about that really emphasis of the it's got to be
This is Radio City on 197 meters medium wave. This is the station that was created by Screaming Lord Sutch. It's time now to introduce our record of the week, which is the Fabulous Fortune singing Look Homeward, Angel.
Radio Luxembourg, you know, it's casualty of its own success. Because it was the first there doing that style of music, and in the 60s along come all the pop pirates to give the Radio Luxembourg treatment all day long, and that's exactly what they did with Radio Caroline, Radio London and Radio Such. So we was all only, you know, imitating Radio Luxembourg.
And good morning everyone, welcome to the exciting new sound of Radio 1.
The kids had music, their own music, for the first time ever. It was very quickly copied by dozens of other stations doing the same sort of thing. Poor old Luxembourg started to disappear after that. They lost their audience.
Here's the microphone a little over here, and I can see you now. Stuart, my friend, many people have called up tonight to wish us good wishes, but the question on everybody's lips, is Stuart Henry there tonight? And of course, here you are.
I am indeed.
Alive and kicking.
Just well. Not kicking, my darling, but certainly alive.
Your tongue's kicking, that's all that matters to us.
Okay.
So, tell us, when did you first come to Radio Luxembourg?
75.
1975. What was Luxembourg like in those days for you?
Very, well, it wasn't a huge cosmopolitan city it's become now. It was quite a little rural type place with strange customs. But my dear friend Tony Prince brought a lovely breath of insanity.
So, Stuart, are you trying to suggest that it was either yourself or Tony that changed Luxembourg from the quiet little place that it was into the place that it is today?
Oh, indeed.
Absolutely.
It is all due to Tony Prince, this huge, bustling, cosmopolitan.
Bob Stewart, close your mouth, you're catching flies. You're catching flies. You've been with the station for what, 69?
Yes, 1869.
So, Tony, I think the most important part of your career was the times that you met Elvis, because I know that he was very dear to you. But we're going to have a listen to a little bit of tape now. It's actually on record of the night that Elvis popped his clogs and went up to that big...
That's a very disrespectful way to put it.
Yes, I think that's a bit of a throwaway line for an occasion like this.
Elvis Presley, the legendary king of rock and roll, died suddenly in hospital at Memphis, Tennessee tonight. He was 42. Radio Luxembourg was the first radio station in Europe to ever feature Elvis Presley.
Here is the message which Elvis gave for his fans across the Atlantic.
Just tell them that I really love their devotion and that we gotta come see them. We got to. I've been singing for years, but we will.
That promise has not been able to have been fulfilled, but that was probably no fault of Elvis. And can I, Tony Prince, say, on behalf of a radio station who has lived on him as much as he has lived on us, say, God bless Elvis Presley.
Well, they've been so long on the street. But your last word on 208 now. Good night. Stephen Williams.
As the station goes aloft, I think we should wish it good luck, and as long and happy existence as it had down here on Earth. So goodbye, good luck, and good listening to Radio Luxembourg.
Do you feel nostalgic about Luxembourg?
No, because in the old days, 208 was all everybody ever had. But today, you've got such a wide choice of radio stations, types of radio stations, that I think, like the Indians in the Wild West would say, a time had come.
I tried to be good, for I know that I should. That's a prayer for the end.
Oh dear, they seem to be playing the wrong tune. The tune we used to have was Al Bowley singing It's Time to Say Goodnight. It was true, it was Henry Hall's waltz, but it was played in our day by Ray Noble and his orchestra. Well, it's rather a pity, but never mind. It's a good tune all the same.
I'm afraid we're going now. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
It's a very sad day.
It's a sad day, yes. In fact, if you don't make me a cup of coffee soon, I shall probably burst into tears.
Oh.
Do you think you're being a bit soppy?
Why? What's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with being soppy? Do we all have to be hard-faced about life? This was my life. This is... Eamon Andrews ain't here anymore. This was my life. This was the best... I gave this woman the best years of my life. This lady, Luxembourg. The old studio isn't there as we knew it, you know. And the party's over.
Good evening, friends. This is Horace Batchelor at the microphone, the inventor of the famous in-for-draw method for the treble chance. I have myself, with my own coupon entries, won 1,012 first treble chance top dividend.
Horace Batchelor, of course, is the ad everybody quotes, and everybody does remember that. Extraordinary. Oh, yes, Keynsham, you know, spelled Keynsham, and his infra-draw method.
He'd won the polls many times, and he was inviting people to write to him.
Keynsham Bristol. K-E-Y...
S-H-A-M.
K-E-Y-N-S-H-A-M. H.
Bristol.
Bristol.
That must have gone out thousands of times until one guy wrote in once and he said, OK, we know how to spell Keynsham, but how do you spell Bristol?
Spelled K-E-Y-N-S-H-A-M. Keynsham, Bristol.
How come you do all the talking in the show? How come you always get to read things out? You always read the commercials, you read the letters,
All right,
you read the mail thing, you read everything. How come I can't read anything?
You're supposed to have the flu. Read that letter out like I just read it out.
Oh, man, thanks for the plug. It was a gas. They just heard that.
We're going to think of a great competition for next Friday's show, and you can win some albums. Stay in, stay on. Yeah, there's a guy did so much for British rock. Cliff Richard, Livin' Lovin' Dog. I've got a great idea for next week's competition.
Yeah,
we could ask the listeners to name the 4 members of the original Shadows, Cliff's backing group. That would be a good competition. I'm sure.
That's easy.
Come on, you're from Canada. You couldn't possibly know. You weren't into Cliff
Jet
Richard.
Harris, right? Bruce Welch, Tony Meehan,
come.
Hank Marvin.
Oh, well, it's kind of screwed that idea up.
It's time to say goodnight, and it's time to close your eyes. Let's put out the light till the dawn breaks through the sky. While on shadows creep, may your dreams be sweet and bright. In a moment you'll be sound asleep. It's time to say
Goodbye. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening to the radio. And now, goodbye, Ovaltine. Goodbye.